Well, hello racing fans, and a warm welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for Saturday the 24th of August, and it will now be a standalone meeting. Racing alongside the Western Cape was the order of the day initially, but it will now just be Turffontein alone on the inside track. And let's see what's on offer with regards to the betting and the menu. Well, there's 9 races carded and an early start, I suspect. Yep, 12:05 will be the running of race number 1. And if you are an exotic player, well, the main event, which is usually the pick 6 for most players, will be race number 4, 1350, 10-2. As always, Alistair Cohen is on the line. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but when we last spoke, things fell into place. How's it, Ali?
How's it, Deez? Yeah, all good. Spot on about the fact that it's a standalone on the Saturday. I quite like the card, I must confess. It's getting a little bit more exciting. We all know that August and most of September can be a bit of downtime. A lot of top horses are resting. A lot of trainers don't have their foot on the gas, etc., etc. Next week, of course, we have the Spring Spree Stakes and also the Lady Stakes at Turffontein. So things are slowly starting to warm up. A little underwhelmed about the size of the field at Turffontein on this Saturday, but it's nice to have some reasonably big names, the likes of Bingwa, the 2-time Allied Steel Red on a Mission Mile, I have the Prophet, a World Sports Betting Gauteng Guineas winner, involved in the meeting as well. So hopefully we can wade our way through it all and read it okay. I do particularly like the first half of the card. The last 3 races or so are a little bit trickier.
Hey, let's get straight into it, Ali. Race number 1 at 12:05, and not part of the exotics as there are 9 races carded. It's a maiden pate and it's for 3-year-olds. It's over 1,600 meters. As we bring up the field, as always, we'll give you a guide with regards to betting. Number 1 is at 11-2. Number 3 at 8-1. Horse number 4 at 9-2. Then we got the 4-10 shot here called Far Reaching for Jan Janssen van Vieren. She's a daughter of Versen Getrix. Her form lines have held up well, especially of her last start behind Together Again when she was tried over 1,450 meters. And she is the right horse at the top of betting boards. And I can actually see why they got her at those restrictive odds here, Alistair, because she looks very hard to oppose.
Geez, it's not my style. It's not your style. It's not many people's style to take 4-10 in a very shallow maiden in the dead of winter in Joburg. You know, there's not many reasons why you'd take 4-10. But the bottom line is, hand on heart, do you think number 6 Far Reaching will win? And the answer is an overwhelming yes. That's the price that she is. Although it's a minor chip away at the blocks, it's still progress if she does arrive. I mean, we all know there's no such thing as a racing certainty, but she absolutely stands out. What's interesting, Deez, is that she was triple entered on this card, and Johan Janssen van Vieren kept all options open. So to me, that's obviously because of the small field. You don't know which races are going to stand. A, that's why he's done it. And B, I think that's the sign of a filly in good shape and good health back at home. This is the race that he's gone for. On the mare's side, there should be no issue with step up in distance. Flying Fable win round Turffontein stands up track twice. All in her favour. Not much else to write home about in this race. I think she'll win. And 4-10th, the price we've got to take.
Yep, and you're going to have to play some trifectas, quartets, and exactas. That's the way to go here in race number 1, banker number 6, and try and limit your spend with the minor positions. Race number 2 will kick off the exotics. It's the bar pot, and this is a maiden pate for 3-year-old fillies, and the distance is 1,600 meters. At the time of recording, number 6 is a scratching, and this is the way they're betting. Horse number 1, 7-10, number 2 at 5-2, and number 7 at 28-10. I had a good look at these 3 runners, Alistair, and I personally will say, like the majority, that, you know, numbers 3, 4, and 5 are all running for that 4th position.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the way. But to find a winner, I don't know, 7-10 is the price that I'm going to be jumping up and down for. But that number 1, Lace, yes, she brings the most persuasive form. She comes out of draw 1. She's charred over this distance, which I think is a big step in the right direction, whereas the other horses in this race haven't been a mile. Lace acquitted herself well. She got Dennis Schwaz on board, but don't know about the level of form, especially to the likes of Sensoria. I know that there have been 2 direct winners out of that form, but I'm still not overly convinced. And the fact that she is more exposed then number 2, Kuramati, and 7, Balkanite. Makes me think a little bit. I know Stuart Pessing, who thinks number 2, Kuramati is not too bad this daughter. Flower Alley. Pilasando Koli takes her out for Pessing, who started the season with a bang. I think she's dangerous to an extent. In the bar, but I'll definitely not be going bank number 1, Lacewing, just to cover for the fact that she's been on the Turffontein inside track before, and that was her worst run. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I'm looking for a result, looking for spots when they're not there. But I make number 2, Kuramati, a live runner here, and a definite inclusion in the opening leg of the bar. Unlike 4 to 10 in race 1, I think 7 to 10 is there are a few alarm bells, a few danger signs, and I think number 7, Balkanite, although the last run was disappointing, I think she's worth another chance, not necessarily to win, but she probably shouldn't miss the first 3 in a race at this stage. I expect more of what I saw in debut than what I saw in the second start as well.
Okay, let's leave out that 4th position. Let's have a stab here, Alistair, at a straight line top 3.
Let's go 2-1-7. I think that's the safe way, but I think we're going to do all right if number 2 turns over the 7 to 10 shot.
2, 1, and 7, and trying to get some cash there in those exactas, trifectas, and you take your pick if you're playing a quartet for that 4th position. The place accumulator will begin in race number 3. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares. The distance is 1,450 meters, and you need to get that place accumulator bet on by 13:15 at 1:15. How are they betting? Well, number 2 is at 8 to 10, and there is an equipment change here. Take note, we'll race with the tongue tie. Number 3 at 9 to 2, number 4 at 7 to 1. Horse number 5, except Cookies, is at 11 to 10. There is a first timer from the Alec Laird stable called Countess Q. She's trading at 8 to 1, and then number 8 is at 11 to 2. Yeah, again, when you have a look at these races that we've already previewed, in race number 2, you are wanting to take on the odds-on shot, but race number 1, that horse, the right horse at the top of the boards, I suspect you will agree with the betting market in this race, Alistair, with horse number 5.
Yeah, totally. I think that this is the second half of the double, to be honest. My suggested bet is a place accumulated. I ticked off with a banker here. I think in the cold light today, except Cookies is pretty much a winner without a penalty, running in a maiden place. She was all at sea last time. She was running around, and my book, had she been 1 run more experienced, she would have put that field to the sword. I don't think Sector Straight's all that bad, and there was a red-hot favourite in that race as well who finished alongside them, who I don't think is all that bad either. And in my opinion, I think more drizzled Accept Cookies would beat them if they ever met again. So for all those reasons, I make her a very hard horse to beat. I think that the fact that there's been a touch of support on her overnight all bodes well. Gavin Lorena's back on board for Roy Magna. She's bound to get a little bit further than this. Not that really caters for what we're talking about in this isolated race. 5 Except Cookies, fit horse, well, coming to hand. Very green last time. She can only learn with that run under the belt. She'll be a very, very tough nut to crack. There are a few, though, in this race that I think you could probably pick out for the future. I know nothing about number 6, Countess Q, but there's a relation on the August sale who's very, very nice, I might add. So without knowing anything, maybe she could be up to something and run a nice race first time out and prove with a run under the belt. I'm very underwhelmed in number 3, Tipperary. She burnt everyone's fingers at her penultimate stop and going off at 6 to 10 and then getting beaten at Hollywoodbets Scottsville quite convincingly by Firecracker a month and a half ago. I think number 8 Stuart's also going to improve and run her best race, probably get into the top 3. But for PA purposes, for the double, 4 to 10 onto 12 to 10, number 5, Except Cookies races 1 and 3. There we go. That probably sets you up for a little stab at the Big 6 and the jackpots.
Yeah, I think that could be the way to go. All it's about is making a profit and trying to use that profit to invest on a race day. And that could be the way to go. As Alistair mentioned, races 1 and 3 will be very popular for all to come. Race number 4 will start off the pick 6, and you need to jot down the time, 13:50. It is the big one, maiden plate, 1,450 meters. And this is the way they are betting here. Very interesting race, this. Number 4 is trading at 22 to 10 now after opening up at 28 to 10 on Hollywoodbets. That is bus stop in Hounslow. Then we go on to a first timer called Jaham, number 8 from the Mike de Kock yard at 7 to 2. And we got number 9 trading at 18 to 10. Yeah, pick 6 time, Alistair. First thing, have you heard anything or about this first timer from the De Kock yard?
No, the answer to that is I haven't. Michael De Kock's been in Australia for the last couple of weeks, and I've been commuting between Cape Town and Joburg. Otherwise, I would have stopped by for a cup of coffee and picked his brain. What I can remember, not that this matters to anyone and not that this is the reason for finding a winner or not finding a winner, the mother was high quality Tammany. She won the Gerald Rosenberg, and I'll never forget it, in a hailstorm at Turffontein. The race started 2,000 metres, it was cloudy and gloomy day, and all of a sudden they got to the corner of the track and we were all getting pelted by hailstones, including the commentator that day. But none of that really matters. None of that really matters. Yeah, interesting that he makes his debut over 1,450 meters. I'd anticipate being by Kingman out of a Teofilio mare that won black type over 2,000 meters. I think 18 and 2,000 meters. That he will come into his own in time. But the appeal of the pedigree is. It's quite revealing about number 8, Jaham. So I've put him into the place accumulator just in case he is well above average. If he is well above average, he'll win this race, and it won't be a question. I don't think there's too much here. I have a theory about number 9, Kalish Cyborg, because he is easily the horse that makes the most appeal on paper, having run second to Corrupt first time out. I think Corrupt's a high-quality horse, but I've said it on the show before. I think Corrupt got away with one first time out over 1,160 metres because he didn't beat much. He is just a much better horse that probably won't win down the straight anytime soon. Probably won't win down the straight ever again, Corrupt. So I don't know whether Kalish Cyborg looks flattered by that, but when you shop around and look around the rest of this field, not much to get excited about. I think Bus Stop and Hounslow is improving, got scope to improve further. Draw 1, Gavin Arena for Brock Marine, you don't see that too often. I respect his chances. He'd go into the pick 6. For me, just the 2 horses need to go into the pick 6 for what it's worth, numbers 4 and 9. But if there is a push on this first timer, and if he looks well going down to the start and all rooms are facing the sea, it won't take a 10-star performance for him to turn over this field.
I think the safe way to play, I mean, I understand that 9 and 4, but I just get the feeling that this number 8, and as Alistair mentioned, just keep an eye if there's any follow-through from the 7 to 2 at the time of recording. Could be a way to include in the pick 6, and if it wins and your horse runs second, well, then it's a double up, it's a no loss. In fact, it's a win-win. Race number 5, Jackpot 1, 1,600 meters. It's a pinnacle stakes, and we often refer to the best weighted column when it comes to these condition races. So let's firstly touch on the betting. Number 1, Bingwa at 5 to 2. Number 2, Eye of the Prophet on Hollywoodbets, 10 to 1 into 8 to 1. Then we got number 3 at 6 to 1. Number 4 at 5 to 1. Number 6 is an 8 to 1 shot. And the filly in the race, Key Element, is trading at 2 to 1. Alistair, just the best weighted column. It is quite tight, but it's worth mentioning. Number 2, Eye of the Prophet at a 120. Then we've got Joint at 119, Bingwa and Swing Upon a Star, 118. Number 3, Macanta. And then horse number 5 at a 116. So this race... I said the filly, well, there's 2 of them in the race. Number 5, Explosive Bond, and horse number 7, Key Element. And I looked at the race and I was thinking 2 runners, and then I said, no, I'm going to leave it to you. The 2 runners, the obvious ones, numbers 1 and 7.
I'm thinking number 7, Key Elements, my place accumulator. Pick 6, I wouldn't be so brave. But I think when you look at this race and you try and work things out and try and place a horse going forward. Bing was obviously going for a 3rd Allied Steel Run on a Mission Mile. This is not his cup final. I anticipate from here you'll probably go into the Betway Joburg Spring Challenge at the start of October. Eye of the Prophet, we'd like to see him come back to form before we go with him despite his undeniable class. I think it's too far for Mercantile. I think it's probably too far for number 4, Swing Up on a Star. Definitely too short for number 5, Explosive Bond. Then I think we get into the meat of the race. Flashy Apache, I think he's also got races to aim at coming up this season, so this will probably be a no-pressure run. Where's Key Element going to go? I don't see her being a threat in the charity mile. I don't see her potentially. She might have a stab at the Fillies and Mares Joburg Spring Challenge at the start of October. But I just think that she's well set up here with 50 kilos coming to form. She's run the Pinnacle Stakes in her last 3 starts. She had more weight than what she shoulders now. Obviously, Vingwa being in the race for 1, 2, 3 just sort of makes, on paper, number 7 Key Elements task with 50 kilos perhaps appeal a little bit more. But I think the heart that she's in, the way that she's running, she's also a half-sister to KwaZulu for sure, who's a high-quality individual and performed very highly at stakes level. I think that number 7 Key Elements just coming against quality opposition at the right time, in that there's going to be meat on the bone for everyone else, that there are a lot of horses perhaps that are experimenting for greener grass coming up in the coming months in Joburg. I think number 7 Key Elements, as far as the place accumulator is concerned, hard to miss in the first 3. Pick 6, I'll definitely go with the class number 1 Bingwa as backup.
Okay, Alistair in the camp of number 7 there. And the one thing that was clearly noticeable for me is the ratings that have been earned by these horses that take their place here. There's not many that are true of there's this type of mark over this distance, barring number 1 Bingwa, who's won 6 over 1,600 meters, maybe Flashy Apache, and the other being the filly number 7 Key Element. So 7 a banker in the PF, Alistair, and the obvious backup, the classy number 1. Race number 6. Well, here's another condition race, a graduation plate over 1,200 meters. I'll read out the best weighted column, but firstly, the betting. Number 1 is at 6 to 1. Horse number 3 at 22 to 10. Number 6 at 2 to 1. And number 7 at 28 to 10. Best weighted column belongs to number 6 at a 99 and has separated himself from the rest of the field, it must be said, because the next best is Buffalo Storm Cody at 92, joint with numbers 1 and 5, and then number 3, Taxi to the Moon. I think a fair question will be, Alistair, and I know it's not an easy one, especially this early in the season, because you're taking the mark of the handicapper on how he's assessed it as youngsters. But will you be in the camp of 3-year-old horse or an older horse in this type of race?
Definitely the 3-year-olds in this particular race. Actually, it's far too early to put this in black and white, but I'm tempted to say that we could have an exciting crop of 3-year-olds this season. But we'll learn a lot more in the coming months. Like I said, it's far too early to make that type of summation and say, right, let's follow the 3-year-olds all the way to the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. There are probably plenty that we've never heard of that might be above average. But yeah, in this particular instance, I will be on the side of the 3-year-olds, mainly because of the weight that they're receiving from the older horses, and also when you have a look, Prince of Kildare, I mean, I don't think he really factors here for 67. Mo the Man, 1,200 is going to be too short. Lincoln Navigator probably enters the conversation. I don't think we're going to get a field of 7 that faces the starter. And I think the key here is held by Tony Peter, and which one is the right one from the yard. Let me start with number 6, Lead the Charge. Let me start with number 7, Buffalo Bill Cody, because those are the 2 horses I've got in the place accumulator. Buffalo Still Cody finished behind Lead the Charge at Hollywoodbets Greyville on Gold Cup Day. So I think that particular performance has to be taken at face value, and we've got to trust the form that we see that Lead the Charge should finish in front of number 7, Buffalo Storm Cody. But with that said, I think Buffalo Storm Cody's got more than just a prayer here. Returning home, Kelvin Habib stable jockey takes the ride. That makes me think that that's preferred to number 3, Taxi to the Moon. Also, that Taxi to the Moon is going to come into his own over a mile. The mother's good, solid stamina pedigree from Oldham. So, yeah, I'm keen on number 6 and 7 here, and I think the form from Hollywoodbets Greyville is going to hold. Just another aspect about number 6, Lead the Charge. His first run as a gelding was a winner, was over 1,000 meters. And for me, that was the catalyst of a little bit of promise going forward. I thought he hit a bit of a flat spot and showed good trademarks of a promising and upwardly mobile horse to still get the job done, despite not beating much. There was a lot to like about number 6, Lead the Charge. So he's a horse that interests me for the next couple of months leading into races up at the Grand Beck.
Okay, that is race number 6, and we'll wait for Alistair's numbers once he gives out his chosen bet, which I feel it is going to be the place accumulator. Graduation plate, fillies and mares over 1,200 meters. And in this race, we'll bring up the field, have a look at the betting. Number 2 is a scratching here. So horse number 1 is at 18 to 10. We then move along to number 4 at 28 to 10. 5 is at 5 to 2. Number 7 at 33 to 10. And it is double figures. The balance Yeah, this race, Alistair, again, we got these young horses against these older individuals. A horse like Chasing Happiness, I'm sure we'll get a mention from you. And maybe even number 4. What about number 4, Force 8, Paul Matchett's runner, the daughter of Gimme the Green Light, on what I thought was a good run last time out, even though she was beaten 4.5 lengths.
Yeah, they're the only 2 horses for me that I can see winning here, Dees. I want to start with number 4, Force 8. The last run to Rodeo Drive was at the top draw. I mean, Rodeo Drive probably flatters Force 8 ever so slightly with a 4.5 length margin. Rodeo Drive never came out of cruise control. She absolutely romped. She made no mistake. She went down to Hollywoodbets Greyville on Gold Cup Day. And yes, she ran second at prohibitive odds, but I still think there's a bit to come. I actually spoke to Sean Terry about Rodeo Drive at the Equus. I said, how do you rate her? Is she top draw? Or what's the story? And Sean's excited about her 3-year-old campaign. And why wouldn't he be? So I think all that sets number 4, Force 8 up quite promisingly in this race. Raymond Danielson takes the right. Draw 1's a huge advantage as well. Pointer ran at Hollywoodbets Greyville on Thursday, ran a nice race in defeat. That's the horse that Force 8 beat at the penultimate start. And then number 1, Chasing Happiness. I don't think that this filly's all that bad. She might have underachieved a little bit. She does run the odd bad race from time to time, but Bling takes her out for Johan Janssen van Vuren. And I think this daughter of Rafif just probably comes in and finds the right type of field for her to boost a little bit of that confidence again. I thought her last run in the middle stakes, although fillies come in well weighted in middle stakes generally by the conditions of the race, I thought it was a good run to Trumpy. Trumpy's done very nicely. Can do very nicely. He can be dangerous on his day. So I think that puts number 1, Chasing Happiness, into the conversation. Pick 6, just 2 horses for me. Petunia's, I think, of reasonable ability, but she's got demons at the start, and I think she's likely to lead the run, and maybe 1,200 metres is a little bit too short for her these days. Like I said, pick 6, just 2 horses for me before we get into some really tricky last 2 races in Turffontein.
Well, numbers 1 and 4 will certainly minimize the spend there in the pick 6. You're only multiplying that per mount by 2. Race number 8, 1,800 meters, merit rated 96 handicap. And let's get into the betting, and we'll begin with a horse that is actually unbeaten over the course and distance. Number 2, Willow's Wish, a 7-year-old, 6-time winner at 6-1. Horse number 3, Juliet Tango, is at 6-1. And this stable has certainly hit some form of late. 5, Tamarisk Tree. I've taken down the betting because a horse that I always seem to follow, and including exotics. That's trading at 10-1. And I must say, unbelievably so, 10-1. Number 6, Millahue at 3-1. Horse number 7, Player for Candice Dawson at 7-1. 8, King's Express at 5-2. And 10, Royal Edition is at 7-1. You know, I never actually had the chance to ask you about this, Alistair, but the naming of number 7, Player, who came up with that? Do you know any story behind that? Because I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was Larry Nestat's idea to call the horse Player. Obviously the legend that Mr. Player is, gave me a call during the week as well, which, always fills one's spirits. The mare was actually owned by the same owners. Crystal Carrington was trained by Ormond Ferraris and was owned by Gary Player, Ronnie Berg and Larry Nestat. Obviously the mother went to stud representing the same owners, and out came a son of Toreador, and they were looking for a name, and all the same guys were involved, and Larry just put forward the name Player, and here we are, an above average 5-time winner who's definitely got a chance. He's in good shape at home. He's got a lovely turn of foot. If the pace is on, he'll be dangerous. He loves this distance as well. He's very much in the play, but I'll motivate that same argument for more than half the field. And I know what more than half the field means for you, Dees. Now, top choice is number 3, Juliet Tango, though, because your precursor to this race is spot on. I wouldn't have put in Juliet Tango. Well, I probably would have put it in. That's a bit of a stretch. But I wouldn't have liked Juliet Tango as much if Lorenzo, Kareem, and Pierce Traden, of all combinations, hadn't struck up such a good tune over the last month or so. I mean, Striker was unreal on Indian Ocean at the Val on Tuesday. I mean, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better ride this month, 64.5 kilos. He caught them all sleeping. Juliet Tango's not a bad little mare. She's well-bred daughter of Rafif. She won the Jacaranda at the end of the year beating, I know fillies, but beating a good bunch of fillies, and those are the capabilities that she's got. And the last 3 runs since coming back from KZN in the KRA East Coast Handicap, the 3 runs back haven't been all that bad, and hinting that she might come to life. And the fact that Strike was on board, a horse that can go off to the front and be dangerous, there's no way I'm going to let her run loose. Number 3, Juliet Tango. And then number 6, Millahue. I'm probably running out of patience, to be fair, with this one to give me the green light. But I'm going to give him another chance, maybe another 2 chances. His last run to Vesuvio was fair when he stayed on nicely. Vesuvio came out and franked his own form over much further subsequently. Perhaps a little bit unlucky as well, having rolled out at the 200 metres mark. Did number 6, Millahue. So those are the 3 horses that make up the numbers in the place accumulator, numbers 3, 6, and 7. 5, Tamarisk Tree, you're right, well overpriced. Automatic pick 6 inclusion. If he was drawn a little kinder, I probably would have put him into the place accumulator, to be fair. Number 2, Willows Bushel, they're unbeaten over this course and distance. Is that last run, what can you read into that? Just off colour in KZN? I don't know. He's been to KZN and won before, so I don't know. I get put off with runs like that from number 2 Willows. He'll definitely at his best. He's
It looks like a tricky race there, race number 8. And Alistair mentioned, well, we'll go with the rule. If you are going to include 6 runners, then you're going to have to consider including the field in race number 8. And we close things off in the 9th race, which is over 1,800 meters. Fillies and Mares 75 handicap. And this is the way they're betting once we bring up the field. Number 1 at 7-2, number 2 at 3-1. Horse number 6 is a 5-1 shot. We got a scratching here of number 4, and that is going to obviously have some type of adjustments to the balance of the field when it comes to betting, because that was priced up at 4-1, and number 10 is an 8-1 shot. What are we doing here? Your chosen bet, it looks like it's the place accumulator, Alistair. How do you close things off here?
So it is the place accumulator, these, and I submitted these numbers before I heard something at the sales on Thursday. I chatted to Eric Verdenise, and he was chatting to quite a few of his mates, and he was saying that number 2, Ariel's Jet from draw 1 at the Gavin Arena, he likes a lot on the last run. Well, he likes a lot, and I'll tell you why he likes it a lot. 3rd run after the rest, last run to Olivia's Way was good. When Gavin rides to Erico, watch out, they are like family. I always say that on the show. Their stats over the last 12 months are even better than what they look in the computer form, because there was another winner for the combination during the week. There's a lot in this filly's favour when you just look at it. I mean, it's hard to ignore her, hence she's in the place accumulator before I knew anything. But number 2, Ariel's Jet, yeah, definitely comes in with a huge shout, and the confidence from the connections is obviously there. Initially, still my backup comes from number 1, Mighty Goddess, Marshall Mulligan, Cabello Mazzaniani team up. She was in a very good run of form towards the end of last year and the start of this year. She also comes off a minor layoff. I don't think that's going to set her back too much. She was in her place and winning her race against pretty much the same opposition, but I don't think that this is too much stronger than number 1, Mighty Goddess. And also the fact that she was on such a streak through last season and running as often as she did, I think the time off was not going to do her too much harm. She's on the back of a £1 penalty for being a loser, which, as you know, doesn't excite me too much. But I just think her consistency is bound to see her remain consistent and run another honest race. So 1 and 2 for me in the place accumulator. In the pick 6, I would venture to include number 8, Silver Parasol. Musi Yeni takes a ride. It was a good enough win last time from Lacewing. Lacewing runs earlier on. I know Sensoria beat Silver Parasol at the penultimate start, and Sensoria's got a very valuable swing at the weights, 1 kilo better off for 2 3/4 lengths. But I like enough of what I saw from number 8, Silver Parasol, last time out, and I still think that they're getting the hang of her. Probably have to include number 10, Sensoria, because the more I talk about Sensoria, the more she makes appeal as well.
Okay, Ali, you don't have to worry about her, because I think it was quite blustery when I came through there. Number 8 is now out, so that is a scratching. That's why I mentioned there should be some adjustments in the betting, because she was priced up at around 4-1. So you don't have to worry about the 8 anymore. That is taken out.
1, 2, and 10 in the pick 6. There we go. Easy game.
Easy game, 1 and 2 there. And that is the way Alistair Cohen has seen the running of race number 9. Let's get into your bet then, Ali.
Yep, place accumulator, which starts at 1:15. As you said, standalone Saturday, so there'll be extra viewership, extra money into the calls, and hopefully a few extra chocolates to win. Banker number 5 in the first leg, Accept Cookies, by numbers 8 and 9, Jaham and Kalish Cyborg, by banker number 7, Key Element, by number 6 and 7, Lead the Charge and Buffalo Storm Cody, by 1 and 4, Chasing Happiness and Fort 8, and then we open up the last 12, certainly in race 8, 3 Juliet Tango, 6 Millihue and 7 Player, and then 1 and 2 to round things off. Not an expensive PA. I expect it to be paying 3 or 4 rand after the first 3 legs, and then maybe we can double up over the last couple of legs and look at a bit of a dividend to make a healthy profit.
Thanks for your time, Alistair, and all the best.
Thank you, Dees. As always a pleasure. We'll catch up soon. And to all the viewers, have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thanks to Alistair Cohen, thanks to the team at Gallop TV, and to you, the valued racing fan. Have a blast, find all the winners, and hopefully it turns out to be a very successful day for you punting. That's if you are at Turffontein on the inside track. From myself, Dees Dynan, until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.